Hello, mortal viewers. Do you often find yourself tired? Do you feel like you lack energy in your daily lives? As if your very flesh is holding you down? Here at Phyrexian Life LLC, we employ the best physicians who can alleviate you of that burden and help you become the best version of yourself. The head of our clinic, Professor Mishra, is quite eminent in the medical field, and many pupils are already proliferating his latest research. In case you haven't heard, he recently discovered a new way to bring back the energy you so desperately desire in your lives. I'm talking of revolutionary therapy with pure energy, one that will flow through you down to the very hairs on your head and then simply blow your mind away. Thanks to the newly installed dark steel reactor, which dare I say is a true marvel of modern ingenuity, all of this has become possible. My heart ticks and flutters with excitement. I can see this to be a true era of innovation. If you're still not convinced, you should know that 100% of our clients report that they are happy with the procedures performed and would recommend them to a friend. So what are you waiting for? Wow, that was a weird commercial. Anyway, back to the deck. As you have probably guessed, the deck revolves around energy and charge counters and seeks ways to proliferate them to victory. Yes, energy in EDH, and no, the deck is not jank. Tapped Out's AI even listed it as a 69% competitive. Nice.
Nice.
I also included a somewhat substantial number of vehicles because at this point, why not? As usual, I'll start off with the creatures. Those include Yawgmoth Ram Physician, mostly to gain even more value from our temporary artifact tokens, by paying a life and sacking them to draw a card and of course, occasionally proliferate. Demon of Dark Schemes acts both as a mini board wipe, an energy producer from creatures dying, and occasionally energy sink. Aether Squall Ancient is a nice energy spender that works as a board wipe and produces 3 energy for free at the start of every turn. And all of this is complemented by Flux Channeler to proliferate any counters that we have already. Other creatures I decided to include have various artifact synergy. Arkham Daxon, a Kudota Forge Master, work as tutors for a relatively small price of sacrificing 1 to 3 artifacts, and I'm saying this because one of these will undoubtedly be one of Mishra's temporary ones. Padim Council of Innovation is a solid protection for our toys, and can draw a card relatively often. Scion Master Hopteris assures that we have enough charm blockers, and can occasionally draw a card as well. Lastly, I decided to include somewhat of a pet combo of mine, in the face of Master Transmuter and Mythian Golem, for their mana chanting potential and occasionally repeatable removal. Now for the good stuff. Decoction Module and Glassblower's Puzzle Knot are neat little artifacts that also make free energy, one for each creature entering the battlefield, that includes our war forms, and the other if we simply copy or sacrifice it. Etherworks Marvel and Gonti's Ether Heart are very key cards in the deck. Since Mishra's tokens are both temporary and artifact creatures, this means both of those cards produce 1 or 2 energy each turn that can be used for their abilities. An important combo that I'd like to mention is that if Mishra makes a copy of Gonti's Ether Heart, that copy is still legendary, but its name is Mishra's Warform, so we get 2 energy from an artifact entering from the original, and 2 energy from entering the battlefield from the token copy. This means that the activated cost is already halved down to 4 energy to get an extra turn, but get this. Mishra's Warform copy of the heart can be exiled instead of the original, which means that playing an artifact each turn translates to taking an extra turn each turn. Wait, I hate extra turns, what is happening to me? Maybe I shouldn't have called that number from the start. So we have the energy and the extra turns, but how do we win? Easy! We just charge up Dark Steel Reactor and win in 20 turns. Of course, this clock can be sped up with some extra proliferation, like Throne of Get or Contagion Engine. Speaking of proliferation, there are many other artifacts that use charge counters, including but not limited to Astral Cornucopia, Replicating Ring, Empowered Auto-Generator, Ever-Flowing Chalice, and Lux Cannon. Wishclaw Talisman also uses counters, but I decided to include it in the deck because I thought that making a war form out of it, and basically demonic tutoring for a card each turn, with the temporary token was too cheeky of an interaction to pass up. Speaking of cheeky interactions, Drachnien Warform token exiles a creature an opponent controls, and Spine of Ishsax destroys any permanent that is threatening. The deck also includes some spicy vehicles, such as Nautiloid Ship to clean the graveyard and usually net extra value, Smuggler's Buggy to cheat a big card if an opponent is open, the Weatherlight to smack face and draw a card, Smuggler's Copter to cycle some lands away, and Thunderhorde Gunship, which makes 2 2/2 Space Marines solely on entering the battlefield. And you can have a vehicle deck without a flagship, so Sky Sovereign Consul flagship is also here. Usually damage based removal is snubbed in Commander, but making and attacking with the Warform means 2 instances of 3 damage that can go in 1 or 2 directions, and that is quite useful in my book. Some more value artifacts include Mystic Forge that can be real MVP when more than half our deck is artifacts. Idol of Oblivion, Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, and Nickel Wellspring are neat cards that can draw 1 or 2 cards each turn. Trading Post offers us the option to sacrifice our doomed Warforms, either to return an artifact from the graveyard or to draw a card for a single mana. And Tormod Script is here to keep the problematic graveyard nice and clean. Lastly, I decided to put the Immortal Sun, which is just good and as a bonus shows up any difficulties we might have with Planeswalkers. Some protectional utility artifacts are Darksteel Forge to protect our toys, Darksteel Plate, Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots to protect Mishra himself. Wrapping up the humongous
what?
Artifact section are the rest of the Mana Rocks, including all the Signets, Arcane Signet, Izzet Signet, Ragdos Signet, Dimir Signet, Skyclave Relic, and of course, Soaring. Oh, I almost forgot, Oblivion Stone is also here, that serves as a board wipe. For enchantments, I decided to include Dictate of Erebos and Grave Pact as a solid way to capitalize on the temporary tokens that Mishra makes. I felt that those two are stronger, more synergetic options for a deck that doesn't run too many creatures, compared to Sundial the Infinite and Obeka Brute Chronologies, who offer a lot less board control but more potential value. The deck won't run much differently, so pick the option that suits your playstyle best. Coming up next is Hero of Innovation, which is a nice energy producer that can be sacked to draw cards if we're in a pinch. Inexorable Tide is a nice card that suits our deck both in function and flavor. The last 2 enchantments are here to help us survive as long as possible. Meridian Besiege will be played predominantly in the first mode that makes a mere token whenever we cast an artifact. But if drawn later and if our graveyard is full of artifacts, the second mode can be chosen to knock someone out. Propaganda is the other enchantment to help deter or at least tax potential attackers. The majority of the instant and sorceries are artifact tutors, with Wheel of Invention and Reshape putting a chosen artifact directly into play, and Fabricate putting it to our hand. The most usual targets are the win condition, Darksteel Reactor, Aetherworks Marvel, value pieces like Mystic Forge or Gonti Aether's Heart, or any of the vehicles. Decree of Pain and Necromantic Selection are my board wipes of choice, and while a bit pricey in terms of mana, the upside of their value is quite good. Speaking of value, Scrap Mastery is a juggernaut in any artifact deck, and especially one such as ours. Tezzeret's Gambit and Glimmer of Genius help us draw cards and advance our game plan further. And Keep Safe and Turn Aside are nice protection cards that I've come to love quite a lot, especially in commander-centric decks such as this one. Usually my decks don't run all that many notable lands, but this one is a special case. First off, we have the artifact lands, and I mean all the artifact lands. Darksteel Citadel, Great Furnace, Seat of the Synod and Vault of Whispers from Meridian, Drossforge Breach, Mistvault Breach and Silverblood Breach from Modern Horizons 2, and Treasure Vault from the first D&D set. Up next are some solid utility lands, such as Inventor Spheres that can be also used as an artifact tutor, Khan's Bastion for its obvious synergy with what we are trying to do, Urza's Saga, and Academy Ruins as recursion option. Of course, one can't make an energy deck without some classic Kaladesh lands, such as Aetherhub and Spire of Industry. The rest of the mana base, as usual, can be built according to one's preferences and budget limits. Well, this is my take on Mishra Energetic One. I hope that you liked it and that you will find my ideas useful when building your own decks. As usual, the full deck list is in the description below. Thank you for watching. Cheers!